Hey everybody, thanks for coming to check out today's video. Today is episode 4 of the smoker build. I finally got all my parts together to build the actual smoke box. Luckily my buddy was nice enough to burn out all of my pieces for me. It's a little thicker than I had planned on. It was supposed to be 1/4 inch, but all he had was 3/8, and this is giant build, so of course we are happily going with the thicker material than the thinner because there's almost no chance that this will warp after welding or use for quite a long time, hopefully. So let me show you how I did it. To start things out today, I wanted to get a couple things done to 3 of the plates that I am using for the smoke box because it's way easier to add things while the plates are sitting here flat on the table. So for the door frame, I am adding an 1/8 by 1.5 inch piece of flat stock to the back side, so once I add the door later, it'll seal on all 4 sides. I am also going to go through and cut out all of the vent holes for my pinwheel air vents that I'm going to put on later, but I'm going to cut all the holes out right now so I don't have to try and cut all of this out once the box is actually together. I'm doing the outside door sill just like I did on the big tank door, except that it's way simpler this time because it's a flat plate and there's no curve to it. I do have to go through later on and grind all of the tacks down that I'm putting on the underside because it does keep the door from closing, but I need them to be there now since when I weld the top side, it would just curl them up without anything holding them on the bottom. So a little bit of die grinder work later on isn't the worst. I also put bevels in the corners to make sure I could get a good weld on. Yes, Larry, I said bevel, not bevel, because bevel is way more fun. So I don't want to hear it. I wanted to test fit the door into the frame, even though I know that it's going to stick up quite a bit because of the tacks that I haven't ground off yet. But it actually seems pretty good, minus that fact, so I'm going to move on to actually starting to put the entire box together. And this plate is honestly the easiest one because it's the first one. Everything after this becomes a little bit harder since I designed this box to have edge to edge on the plates. It definitely doesn't leave a whole lot of wiggle room, and you'll see that once I put the second plate on and actually get the first tack, but I don't want to spoil nothing. We'll get there in a minute. Alright, it was less than a minute, I lied. I'm going to start putting that plate on now. I did set the bottom of the box 1/4 inch in, so I didn't have to go edge to edge on every single connection because that just becomes really difficult the more plates you add to the box. This right here is why proper tack placement is important. If I would have put this on the outside, the plate wouldn't have pulled and fell in, and then I'd have to sit here and try and readjust everything to get it where it actually should be. So, if you're going to take anything away from this, think twice before you tack. Putting the rest of the box together is pretty straightforward. I just have to keep adding pieces the way I have been. But one highlight is, as I was tapping this corner, this clamp fell off and I thought it was gonna crack me square in the face. Luckily it wasn't that close and I can just keep going, putting the rest of the pieces together. When I got to this plate, I ended up using a bar clamp to compress the outside of the box so the end could overlap a little bit, so it'd be easier to line up the bottom in place before I slowly let the clamp out and made sure the edges were set where I wanted them. When I did all the math to figure out that it'll be a 4-inch by 24-inch opening from the smoke box to the tank, I realized I don't know what the best size from smoke box to tank is, and I'm not gonna lie, I guessed. Hopefully it works, and if it doesn't, I'll obviously end up going back after everything's done to adjust things. But until it can actually be tested, I'm not 100% sure that it'll work. So let's keep our fingers crossed. I'll go back through after I'm done welding and doing everything else to clean the actual box all up and make sure to get all the BBs, but it's finally time to move on to something else because this got old. I forgot to put the holes for the bolts to actually mount my vents onto the side of the box, so this is what I was trying to avoid, having to do things in place, but it's drilling 2 holes. It's really not that bad. But now I get to flip this thing over once again and put the door on. I'm going to start with the hinges and get those in place, make sure I have enough space around the entire door that it will actually open once I tack all the hinges on. I'm going to test that they work, and since it seems like everything's fine, I am going to weld the hinges on, and then I'm going to test it one more time because things move and it gets weird after you weld them, so I just wanted to make sure that everything still operates fine before I flip this over yet again so I can finish putting the latches and the handle on. I'm using the same latch on the smoke box door that I did the tank door, so I just got to get that tacked into place. Then I am going to locate where I want the handle to go. I'm hoping that when you flip the latch, it will rest against the handle nicely, so when you open it, you can throw your logs in, mess with it, whatever, close it, and then just easily flip it back. It's a small creature comfort, but hopefully it helps. And I still haven't got any new drill bits, so I had to use a step bit to finish drilling the hole for the handle, but it works the same. The last thing I'm going to do today is polish up the catch a little bit just to make sure the latch will pass it with relative ease, but still want it to be tight so it has a nice seal on the door. And that'll wrap up the smoke box. Thank you for coming to check out today's video. I appreciate it. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.